Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihar. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihar. Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Shivanidari. Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Shivanidari. Yamunadeva Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihar. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihar. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we will be reading this morning the 8th chapter of the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the pastime of leading up to the appearance of Lord Nrisimhadeva. Today is the appearance day of Lord Nrisimhadeva and the disappearance day of Hiranyakashipu. Yes. So, yeah. But before we start reading this chapter, I will give a small summary of what went before. That so Jaya 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 Jai Nrisimha Jai Nrisimha Jai Jai Nrisimhadev. Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhingam. Om Gam Brahma Vishnu Swarantam Sarvatamakam Nrisimham Vishnambradam Mrityu Mrityu Namam Namam. So the appearance of Lord Nrisimhadev. This 7th canto starts with Narada Muni speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And in the beginning of this 7th canto, the question is brought up. Lord Vishnu, is he really impartial? That It seems he's taking the side of the demigods and is not favorable to the demons. So is he impartial? So we know we are all part and parcel of Krishna. Also, those in demons' bodies, they are also part and parcel of Krishna. So is Krishna really impartial? That's the question that begins. And Narada Muni, he wants to clarify that and start to tell the history of the appearance of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. And we see the first chapters of this canto are dedicated to describing Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, all the austerities of Hiranyakashipu, and his plan to become immortal, that he wanted to get the benediction of Lord Brahma, because he was thinking Brahma is the highest living entity in this material world, is the highest, so he can give benedictions. Of course, we know that Hiranyakashipu did austerities, severe austerities, that just to become immortal. Of course, Krishna makes that point in Bhagavad Gita. You cannot attain me by austerities. It's not possible. But somewhere or another, he pleased Lord Brahma. Brahma gave him benedictions. Lord Nrisimhadeva later will chastise Lord Brahma. Don't give such foolish benedictions anymore to demons. Because when Hiranyakashipu asked for the benediction to become immortal, then Brahma said, I cannot give that. I myself not immortal. How can I give you this benediction? But then, like all materialists, they make plans for their sense gratification, misuse their intelligence just to get sense gratification. And he made plans. He was thinking, I will ask different benedictions, and finally it will be the same. So he asked, he asked for benedictions like, I don't want to be killed during the day or the night. And Brahma said, so be it. And then he asked, I don't want to be killed by any creature that has been created by you. And Brahma said, fine. I don't want to be killed on the land or in the air. Brahma said, so be it. And yes, I don't want to be killed inside or outside the house. Okay, good. All benedictions were given. And we will see Lord Nrisimhadeva will respect all these benedictions. Still, he will kill Hiranyakashipu. But what's the purpose of Hiranyakashipu's life? Hiranya and Kashipu. Hiranya is gold. Kashipu is soft cushion, right? That's sense gratification. That was his goal. And after he got the benedictions, what did he do? He started to terrorize the entire universe because he could not be killed. So very powerful. And all the demigods, they just, by the moving of his eyebrows, they became very, very much afraid. But then in the Bhagavatam, we have the description of Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. And interesting is that Prahlad, he was educated in the Gurukul of Sanda and Amarka, two sons of Sukracharya, and they were taught how to rule and divide the kingdom. And Prahlad said, I don't like these teachings because it discriminates between friends and enemies, this duality, because that's not factual. And he rejected the teachings of his teacher, Sanna in Amarka. And one day his mother dressed him kata duty. No, it's not kata duty. Anyway, but she prepared Prahlad, bathed him, put in a nice dress, and brought him before his father. And his father, Hiranyakashipu, with great affection, he put him on his lap and smelled his head and said to Prahlad, please tell me, what did you learn in school? Like a father asked his son who comes of his mother, asked his son who comes from school, what did you learn today? And Prahlad was thinking, I will give the best of knowledge that I got to my father, what I heard from my spiritual master in the womb. But he said to his father first, oh, saintly king of the demons, best of the dat Sadman Yeshua Varade nam Sadas met Vichya Diamita gaat. Het gaat nog dan Giaman te kopan, vanam Kanara daar is Asrayeta. That he said to his father, that Saudimanye, the best I can think of. Surya Varinam, or saintly among the demon kings, is very respectful to his father. But he said to his father was astonished. He said to his father, you are dwelling in this Ananda Kupam, in this deep well of family life and sense gratification. You should come out of this life and go to the forest, namely to the forest of Vrindavan, and perform service to Krishna. So, and then he said to his father, Matirna Krishna Pratosvatvam Mitopi Vatyetrina Vatanam Antiravishtam Tamisham Punaspunasavta Sarunanam. Matirna Krishna, he said, but don't worry, I know you don't want to become Krishna conscious, but don't worry, your attraction for Krishna will never appear in your heart. Not on your own strength and not by the instructions of others. That Krishna because you have you have made this vrata, this vow of sense gratification. That yes. So Ananda Gopir Vishatam Mishram, because of your uncontrolled senses, he said, because of your uncontrolled senses, you will suffer. That's Ananda Gopir Vishatam Mishram. By that your mind is uncontrolled. And what is an uncontrolled mind? You do always the same stereotype things of actions of sense gratification. At once, when Hiranyakashipu heard it, he became very angry because Vishnu was his enemy. Because Vishnu had killed his brother Hiranyaksha in the fight of Lord Boar. He tore him from his lap, he said, and he called for the teachers. He said, who has polluted the consciousness of my son? There must be some Vaishnava secretly teaching him things. And Sananama said, don't worry, we will take care of that. We will change his mind. But then what happened? That Prahlad Maharaj, he went to the Gurukul and heard all these teachings of Sanana Marka, but he did not take them serious. That he was always thinking of the instructions of Narada Muni he heard. And what started he doing? During the pause, he started to preach against all his schoolmates. So during the break, they had Kirtan, and he was teaching them. He was teaching them Kamarachet Payo Dharamam Bhartamyam Dulabam Samshamyam Tapya Dhruvanartadam. He said, yes, you have the Kamara age, 5 years old. Now is the time to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Because this human life is rarely obtained. With this human life, you can attain perfection. Because, and he was teaching them, yes, use your time now. Because all of your time is already wasted by sleeping. And then the childhood time is wasted. Old age, you can't do anything anymore, is also wasted. So what's left over? So use your time well to cultivate Krishna consciousness. And all these schoolmates became Vaishnavas. And Sanayana Marka became very, very afraid. And they went to Hiranyakashipu. So now, chapter 8, I will read this chapter up to the appearance of Lord Nrisimhadeva. Text 1. Srinarada Vacha Atadaitya Sutta Sarve Shutfatat Anuvarnitam Shakriho Nirabatyatvan Naiva Govanusiksitam. Now the Muni continued, all the sons of the demons appreciated the transcendental instructions of Prahlad Maharaj and took them very seriously. They rejected the materialistic instructions given by their teachers, Sanda and Amarka. Because they heard these teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, and they said, where do you get this knowledge? You were born as a son of Hiranyakashipu here. How did you get this knowledge? And then he explained, in the previous chapter, he explained how Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakashipu, when Hiranyakashipu was doing austerities, then the demigods took the opportunity, let's kidnap her, and when she's pregnant, when she will give birth to another demon. And when she gives birth, we will kill it. We have already one problem enough here in Hiranyakashipu. We don't want to have another problem here. So they were abducting Kayadu, but then Narada stopped the demigods and said, what are you doing? And they explained, yes, we want, when she gives birth, we will kill the demon. So what's wrong? Narada Muni said, no, this in our womb is a pure devotee. And immediately they accepted Narada Muni's words. That's the difference between a demon and a devotee. A devotee accepts authorities, and they accepted the authority of Narada Muni, circumambulated Kayadu 3 times to give respect to the pure devotee in our womb. Then they disappeared. And Narada Muni took Kayadu to his ashram. Sannyasis should not imitate us. But Narada was on the transcendental platform. But he instructed Kayadu and Prahlad instructed them in transcendental knowledge. But Kayadu heard it, and Prahlad, who was in the womb, heard it. But Kayadu did not become a devotee. How is that? Because her heart was not in the hearing. She was always thinking about her husband who was doing austerities and when she could go back. So it didn't penetrate her heart. But Prahlad was in the womb and was in difficulty, and he accepted all these instructions as nectar. So that's mystical. So it is said, all pregnant devotees should hear the Bhagavatam, complete Bhagavatam, while for the benefit of the child in the womb, Prabhupada says that that's interesting. That yes, so they accepted the instructions of his schoolmates of Prahlad. Atashaya shutastesham buddhim ekanta samsitam alaksha vidhasta veto rachna vedayachyata. When Sanda and Amarka, the sons of Sukracharya, observed that all the students, the sons of the demons, were becoming advanced in Krishna consciousness because of the association of Prahlad Maharaj, they were afraid. They approached the king of the demons, and described the situation as it was. So they became afraid because all their students became devotees. And but of course, the reaction of Hiranyakashipu. Gopafisha shalat gatra putram hantum manodate shiptva parusaya vacha paradamata harnanam pariksamana papena tirashinena chaksusa prasraya vanatam tantam badhanjalim avashtitam sarva padahatai vasvasam prakatidarnam. When Hiranyakasipu understood the entire situation, he was extremely angry, so much that his body trembled. Thus he finally decided to kill his son. Hiranyakasipu was by nature very cruel, and feeling insulted, he began hissing like a snake trampled upon by someone's foot. But his son Prahlad was peaceful, mild, and gentle, and his senses were under control. And he stood before Hiranyakasipu with folded hands. According to Prahlad's age and behavior, he was not to be chastised. Yes, yet with staring crooked eyes, Hiranyakasipu rebuked him with the following harsh words. Shri Hiranyakasipu uvacha. It's Shri Hiranyakasipu. Shri. It's translated as the blessed Hiranyakasipu. He was blessed. Interesting. Edo vinita mandatam kula veda karadamat staptamacha sanovritam nishitvadya yamakshayam. Hiranyakasipu said a most impudent, most unintelligent disruptor of the family, a lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. That, 6:6. Kudasya yasya kampante trayoloka sahasvara tasyame bitam buddha shasanam kim balochaga. My son Prahlad, you rascal, you know that I'm angry. When I'm angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with their chief rules. By whose power has a rascal like you become so impotent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? Because Hiranyakasipu had tried to kill him before in so many ways, tried to cook him in boiled oil, but the oil was feeling cool. That they throw him from the rocks, from a cliff, but the stones were as soft as sponge when he fell. Anyway, so many ways it didn't happen. So you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you. So Prahlad, he replies, Shri Prahlad vachana kevalam me bhavatasya rajan savaivalam balinam saparisham pare mi stira jangramaye pramadayoyena pasam pranita. Prahlad Maharaj said, my dear king, the source of your strength, of which you are asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength of everyone. Without him, no one gets any strength, whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior. Everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's something we always should remember. Whatever capability, strength we have, is Krishna's strength, which he gives us. That Krishna is finally controlling material nature and doing everything. Prakati kriyamani gunakarma sankara vimudharna kartim itimani. But who foolish persons like Hiranyakashipu, they think everything depends on their strength. That of course takes 8. But Prahlad continues. Sa Ishvara Kala Ukama Ukamosva Ujasa Sattva Valena Driyatma Saheva Visham Paramasva Saktivi Shichat Avatiyati Gunatrayasa. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller and time factor, is the power of the senses, the power of the mind, the power of the body, and the vital force of the senses. His influence is unlimited. He is the best of all living entities. He is the controller of the 3 modes of material nature. By his own power, he creates this cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates also. So Prahlad continues. Yau asuram bhavanipam tvam atmana saman manodat svasasantim vitvasa ete sita atma utpate sita tadihi anantasya mahatsamaranam. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone, except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind. There is no enemy in this world. I read that again. You must remember that. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then becomes to the position of worshipping the Lord perfectly. So he's saying his father, you should become qualified to worship the Lord. Give up this envy and this discrimination between friends and enemies. And Prahlad continues to speak to his father. Very strong words he's speaking now. Dashun purasanna vichit kalam pato manyate kesvachita diso dasa chitat managyasya samasya denam sadosvamuha prabhava kuta pare. In former times there were many fools like you who did not conquer the 6 enemies that steal away the wealth of the body. So he's saying to his father, your senses are in control. These fools are very proud, thinking, I've conquered all enemies in the 10 directions. But if a person is victorious over the 6 enemies and is equipoised toward all living entities, for him there are no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined by one in ignorance. Now Hiranyakashipu is going to reply, and he didn't like the preaching of Prahlad. Ti Hiranyakashipu uvacha vyaktam tvamahtu kamusmi yo srimatram pitahase mumoshu nami mandatman nanusyo viklavadira. Hiranyakashipu replied, you rascal, you are trying to minimize my value as if you were better than me in controlling the senses. This is overintelligence. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands, for this kind of nonsensical talk is indulged in by those about to die. Yastvaya mandabak yokto matanyo yat jagat ishvara vasaya disasarvatra tasmat stambe Nrisimhadeva, a most unfortunate Prahlad, you have always described a supreme being other than me. A supreme being who is above everything, who is the controller of everything, who is all pervading. But where is he? If he's everywhere, then why is he not present before in this pillar? Soham vikatamanasya shirakatya dharamite gopayeda haristpatya yaste sharanamipsitam. You are speaking so much nonsense. I shall now sever your head from your body. Now let me see your most worshipful God come to protect you. I want to see it. No, Sukadeva. Evam Durukter Mu'ardayan Rusa Sutam Mahabharvatam Mahasura Bhaktam Prahrityo Patito Varasanat Stambham Tadadati Palasvamustina. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu was very great in bodily strength, thus chastised his exalted devotee Prahlad with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. But what happened now? Tadaiva tasmin Nindano Tibisano Babhuvayananda Katahamas Asputat Yam Vaisvadisnyo Bhagatam Vajadaya Shutva Sadamatyam Angamainire. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. Oh, my dear Yudhishthira, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma. And when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. Savikramam Buddha Padepsojasa Nisamhaniradam Apovana Buddham Antasavyam Nadadakshatadpadam Pitatra Surena Surari Utapa. While showing his extraordinary prowess, Hiranyakashipu, who desired to kill his own son, heard that wonderful tumultuous sound which he had never heard before. Upon hearing the sound, the other leaders of the demons were afraid. None of them could find origin of that sound in the assembly. Tatyam vidatam yabritya vashitam vyaktim sabhuta shakileshu satmana adrisyatat buddha rupamutfaham stambhe savayam namriham namanusam. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of the assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari exhibited a wonderful form never seen before. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus, the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. So he manifested himself as Nrisimhadeva, half man, half lion. He wanted to preserve the truth of Brahma's promise to Hiranyakashipu, that he would not be killed by any animal of any man. So the Lord appeared in a form that could not be said to be fully a man or a lion. Sasatpanet etam, sasatpanenam parito vipasyam, stampasya matya anunirchipanam, nayam nihona pinaro vishitam, aokimitam risham dhavam. When Hiranyakashipu looked all around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either man or lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man and half lion? So Hiranyakashipu started to calculate. He tried to calculate the unlimited potency of the Supreme Lord. But demons cannot understand omnipotence of the Lord. Avachanti mamuda manushimtan ashvidam. Rambhavamajanam. Rascals and demons cannot realize the supreme potency of the Lord. No. But Hiranyakashipu was a jnani, studying, analyzing. We have also seen when he spoke to the widows of Hiranyaksha, he gave them a lot of knowledge. You are not the body, you are the soul. That was knowledge. What was his defect? His defect was he could not understand Krishna or Krishna. He was against the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. Now he's studying. I read the Sanskrit also because it has special potency if we hear that Mimma samanasya samutito khato Nrisimhadeva vayanakam Patapta chamikara chandalochanam spura satakeshara Shirbitanana Karalastam Stankarala Karavala Chanshala Shuranta Shivam Prokoti Makovanam Stabort Paganam Kirikandara Puta Vyatasyanasham Anubedabhishanam Divish Prisat Kayamadir Vivara Ivo Vakshastam Alpamatyanam Chandram Sukorashuritam Vishpak Ujanikyasatam Nakayudam Karashadam Savanyitarayuda Pavika Vitra Vitadev Detyadanavam. Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nrisimhadeva standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with the conch shell, disc, club, lotus, and other industrial weapons. Now, what was Hiranyakashipu thinking when he saw the Lord appearing before him? Vayenameyam arino mayina vadashkitunena samudyatena kim vipapruvam svapyapatat kada yudo nadan nishingam pratideta kunjara. Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this, and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. So he was still thinking, I'm the most powerful. Nobody can kill me.
Oh.
Now, what happened now? Yeah, we have already the appearance of Lord Nrisimhadeva, and we are progressing to the disappearance of Hiranyakashipu. Alakshito na patita patangamo yata vishingam yasi so surastada natat vichitram kalasat padamani svateya sayono purapitatama. Just as a small insect falls forcefully into a fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible, when Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible, insignificant. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. That formerly, during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by his spiritual effulgence. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Suryasa Mayahaya Andakar Yang Krishna Tanidhi Yaham Krishna Tanai Mayara Adhikar. God that is light, nations is darkness. Where there is God, there is no nations. 25. Tato Vipapya Bhyahanam Mahasuro Usan Shingam Kadayo Vivekaya Tam Vikrimantam Saradam Kadada Manorakam Taksha Sudo Yatakahi. Thereafter, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Nrisimhadeva with his club and began to beat him. Lord Nrisimhadeva, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. Now the Muni is speaking again to Yudhishthira. Satasya hasto kalitas tadasyo vikridatoyat vatahir gautmata asat panamantya irito kasumara Hana sada bharata sarvatisnyapa. O Yudhishthira, O great son of Bharat, when Lord Nrisimhadeva gave Hiranyakashipu a chance to slip from his hand, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and let it slip from his mouth, the demigod who had lost their abodes and who were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon did not consider that incident very good. Indeed, they were perturbed. Yes. (27) Now what will happen? Tanmanyamano Yavirya Sankitam Yadastam Mukto Niyarim Mahasuram Punastamasaya Takarta Sarmani Parhishya Vihena Gata Shamo Krite. When Hiranyakasipu was freed from the hands of Nrisimhadeva, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. So he was thinking that Lord Nrisimhadeva is afraid of me. Tamsyena vegam satashandra vartmabis Sharantamashidram uparyato yari Ketvattahasam karam uspanolbanam Nimilitaksam Sakhe Mahashabam. Making a loud, shrill sound of laughter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who is extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakasipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakasipu moved sometimes in the sky and sometimes on the earth, his eyes closed because of fear of Nrisimhadeva's slaughter. Vishvakspurantam Kanaturam Mari Fyalo Yataktam Ulisaksata Facham Farurumapatya Dadarulilaya Nakeyatahim Garudo Mahavisham. As a snake captures a mouse, or Garuda captures a very venomous snake, Lord Nrisimhadeva captured Hiranyakasipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of King Indra. As Hiranyakasipu moved his limbs here and there and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Nrisimhadeva placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs. And in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hands. Samramba Tukpekshakaradalochano Pyatan Anantam Velan Svachi Kayam Asrih Lavakta Unakshe Saranano Yadantramade Kripahatyayari. Lord Nrisimhadeva's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes, full of anger, were impossible to look at. Licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nrisimhadeva, decorated with a garland of intestines taken from Hiranyakasipu's abdomen, resembled a lion that had just killed an elephant. That text 31. Nakan kurut patitarit soam Pichya tasyan ucharan uchat yudan Aham samasta naka sastrapani pir Dotanda yuto napatan sasrasa. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had many arms, first uprooted Hiranyakasipu's heart and then threw him aside and turned towards the demon soldiers. These soldiers had come in thousands to fight with him with raised weapons and were very faithful followers of Hiranyakasipu, but Lord Nrisimhadeva killed all of them merely with the ends of his nails. Satavaduta jalada prapatan krasata kristi vimustarochisa ambhobaya svasata vishukshubir Niradabita Dihiba Vichu Kosu. The hair on Nrisimhadev's head shook the clouds and scattered them here and there. His glaring eyes stole the effulgence of luminaries in the sky, and his breathing agitated the seas and oceans. Because of his roaring, all the elephants in the world began to cry in fear. That interesting description. Stat satuk sipta pramana sampuda Vatsarpataksham Sapada Pipi Titra Talai Samudpituramusyaram Masa Tatya Sakham Kakopho Narechire. Airplanes were thrown in outer space and the upper planetary system by the air of Nrisimhadev's by the hair on Nrisimhadev's head. Because of the pressure of the Lord's lotus feet, the earth appeared to slip from its position, and all the hills and mountains sprang up due to his intolerable force. Because of the Lord's bodily effulgence, both the sky and all directions diminished in their natural illumination. 34. Tata sabayam upavishtamutame nirpashne samritateyasam vibhum alakshitat vairatam atyamarsanam vashandavaktam nabhabhajagashana, manifesting a full effulgence and a fearsome countenance. Lord Nrisimha, being very angry and finding no contestant to face his power and opulence, then sat down in the assembly hall on the excellent throne of the king. Because of fear and obedience, no one could come forward to serve the Lord directly. So the question may arise here, why does he then sit down off the throne of a demon? But Lord Nrisimhadev remembered, this is my eternal servant Jai from gatekeeper from Vaikuntha, who was cursed by the Kumaras, and to appreciate his devotee service, he sat down on his throne. Nasamyadoka Trayamastakarashparam Svamadidetya Marina Hatam Rite Paharsavehot Kalinana Kalitana Mahu Pashuna Varsa Vashusurashriya. Hiranyakashipu had been exactly like a fever of meningitis in the head of the three walls. Thus, when the wives of the demigods in the heavenly planets saw that the great demon had been killed by the personal hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their face blossomed in great joy. The wives of the demigods again showered flowers from heaven upon Lord Nrisimhadev's life. So the rest of the chapter, we will have the demigods. First, Lord Brahma will offer prayers to Lord Nrisimhadeva, and then Lord Shiva, and then others from other planetary systems. But finally, Lord Nrisimhadeva remains angry. They cannot pacify him. And then at the end, Lord Brahma pushes forth Prahlad, and he said, "It came for you, you pacify him." And then we have the next chapter. The Prahlad is pacifying Lord Nrisimhadeva with prayers. And yes, very important prayers for us. It shows the mentality of a pure devotee. Lord Nrisimhadeva wants to bestow all benedictions on Prahlad. And Prahlad says, I don't know I don't want your benedictions. I'm just your servant and you are my master, and we are situated in that relationship of service. And I feel completely happy with that. But if you want to give me one benediction, give me the benediction that I can, that I should never leave the service of my spiritual master, Narada Muni. And then after that, he prays for his father, the deliverance of his father. And Lord Nrisimhadeva will say, already 21 generations of your family are liberated, 21 generations. I remember Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj comments, yes, that's for a pure devotee. But what with a Madhyamadikar and what with a neophyte like us? And Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj said, for a neophyte, even 3 generations. That's it. Found it interesting. So this is the appearance of Lord Nrisimhadeva. And this evening, we will present a slideshow. But together with the slideshow, I will speak on very important points of the philosophy of the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, that get a deeper insight in the transcendental mentality of a pure devotee, mentality which we also should develop. That and many slides this evening of single deities all over the world. So that this evening. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. It's Lord Nrisimhadeva ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.